So first thing we did was figure out, for every 2 more Blu-rays that I purchase, I owe them an additional what? No, for every 2, I owe another $8. So that must mean that I owe how much for 1? 4. Raise your hand if you have $4 as your rate of change. If you had 8, you didn't put your unit rate. You put how much it is for 2. For every 2, it's 8. So for every 1, it's 4. Okay. So now, who thinks they have the correct? Keep your hand up or raise it. Mouths quiet. Dominic got it. What did you get?
I got 4/join $34.
Yes. Did anybody else get $34 to join? How did you get it? By subtracting 8 from 42, guys. And that is your joining fee. Okay, we have some, yeah.
I thought, it went 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I thought you had to do 42 minus 8, and then you got 34, and then I did 34 minus 8 again.
That would be, yes, that would be if, well, for every 2 this goes backwards, this only goes backwards 8. So you did it twice. If you subtracted 4 and 4 again, that would have worked. Okay, guys, so 34 to join. So we're not done. Shh. Shh. So here's what we're going to talk about next. If you have ones here, your rate of change is just this difference, right? If you don't, did you see that I could have just divided 20 by 2? So watch, I'm going to show you something. This is where it all comes together. We're not done yet. I still have another sheet to give you. Remember how I said that you can take the y and divide it by the x? Enough. We're going to wait till everybody's paying attention. When it's proportional, you can divide the y by the x. That doesn't work when it's not proportional, right? So here is your hint. When you can't divide the y by the x, you're going to divide the change in y by the change in x. So everybody stop what they're doing, calculators down, and watch. What was the change in the y values here? 20. What was the change in the x values here? 2. What was 20 divided by 2? 10. What was the change in the y values here? What was the change in the x values here? 2. My rate of change was 4. So watch. If it has 0, 0, divide the y by the x. If it doesn't have 0, 0, and it's not proportional, you have to find the change in y and divide it by the change in x. So I want to give you this sheet, and while I'm passing it out, I want you to look at number 1 and 2. Guess what? There's another word for rate of change, and unit rate, and constant proportionality. It's called slope, but we're not going to do anything with that word right now. So right now, until you get your paper, you're looking at number 1. We're going to cross the word slope out, and we're going to put rate of change. It is, so you guys have to listen. Rate of change. Now, for this sheet in particular, the joining fee is not a priority. I threw it in there because I thought it would be a great way to introduce it to you. But I'm mostly, if it's staring you in the face, go ahead and write it. So, the first thing you're going to notice is that the tables are not going sideways here, are they? But you know what? This is still the number of Blu-rays as your X, and your Y is still your cost, right? Is this going by ones? When it goes by ones, consider yourself lucky. There's not much thinking to do. Because for every one that this goes up, this does what? Goes up 5. How much does it cost to join this club? So it costs $5 to join and $5 per Blu-ray. So kind of confusing there. All right. Eventually we get to a problem where the real world example that we've been using doesn't work anymore, does it? So rate of change here, I can't have a negative number of Blu-rays, right? So we have to kind of set that aside and just start to go with formulas here. So please pay attention and think about this. What's happening from -2 to -4? Well, here's -2, here's 0, here's -4, here's -6. What's happening? That's going what? Down by what? 2. Look what you guys are going to put. Down by 2, down by 2. And for every 2 that's going down, this is going what? Yes. No, not by 3. You said down by, thank you, Tammy, 6. I know, you say the answer before we're ready for the answer very often. So -6. Okay? So, this one may not be as easy to kind of just think about, right? That's why it's important. So stop for a second. Does this contain 0, 0? No. Not that we can see. So you know what? Don't divide the y's by the x's, because that's not going to work. Watch. 10 divided by 2, or -10. Or, 4 divided by 4, we know is 1. We know that 2 divided by 6 is going to be 1/3. So that's not going to work. Listen, when that doesn't work, don't divide the y by the x, divide the... No, the change it's in the y's by the change in the x. So look, the y's are changing by -6, the x's are changing by -2, and -6 divided by -2 is +3. Guys, it's still y divided by x, except this time it's the change of y. Got it? Let's do this one. What is y changing by here? Or x, sorry. It's going up 2. Up 2. Stay with me. For every 2 that x is going up, what's happening here? It's not going down. Think about your number lines, please. If I'm at -5, I hop how many spaces? It's going up 3. You have to know your number line spacing. All right. So, don't divide the y's by the x's. Divide the change in y by the change in x. Don't divide the x by the y. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Okay? The change in y is 3. The change in x is 2. And that equals 1.5. If this was a how much per Blu-ray, it would be $1.50. That doesn't make sense, though. Let's do one more question, Wesley.
Problem number 2, it's like giving back.
Yeah, it would be like giving them back because, yes. Finally, what do we see? Going up by 1. And when it goes up by 1, that's our little bonus because I don't need to do any dividing. The only reason I need to divide is because it wasn't going up by 1s. So I know that how much is this? Stop and think for a minute, please. Picture yourself standing on the number line on my floor at -1. Now you're at -4. Now you're at -7. What are you doing? You're going down by how many steps? 3. So technically, you could still take the change in your y divided by the change in your x. It's just what? Do you understand? Today we're not dividing y by x anymore. We're dividing the change in y by the change of x. Got it? So you have to finish these last four. Don't worry about the joining fee, although you're kind of looking at it, right?
Wait, is the every time the joining fee just plus by 0?
Yes, whatever your guess. What would a joining fee of -3 mean? Yeah, I want to join that club. Join my club. I'll pay you $3. Okay. Right? Okay.